Hey, you look good.
You look hot.
I know it. And why are we made up like this?
Well, last time we talked about phobias.
Ah, is this a phobia
Yes,
or
it
is
can
this
be a
our real
phobia.
look?
No, it can be a phobia.
What's the phobia? Are we afraid of ladybugs?
No, clowns.
A clown. Something everybody likes, every kid loves, but guess what? One of the major phobias that people have is a fear of clowns. So we thought we'd start our show with, let there be a circus in town. Whatever it is, we're afraid of clowns. I know I am. I'm afraid of you right now.
I know. I can't hardly breathe.
We can't breathe. We don't know how those clowns do it, but it's a real fear, a fear of clowns. And I think it's because you can't see what's underneath.
Is
all
that what it
makeup.
is, or is it all the horror shows that they have of clowns grabbing you underneath the bed?
Stephen King.
Yes, Stephen King is probably responsible for that.
Okay, a lot of it. But I think my fear started when I was a child of clowns. And I don't like the makeup, and I don't like the way they do their mouths. But there's always something a little sinister.
Yeah,
like,
I think so. Yeah, I know my youngest son, he doesn't like it.
Clowns?
Yeah, and I don't know why, because I really don't let him
hang out with clowns.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang out. No clowns hang out in his classrooms or in the halls. But I brought something that I pulled off the internet because it's a real thing. Phobias are one kind of anxiety disorders that often leads to fear of a specific object or situation.
Okay.
Many people suffer from phobias and develop symptoms of anxiety, distress, and discomfort.
Yes.
The effects of these disorders tends to alter the normal lifestyle of an individual by interfering with the daily routine. So we're talking about real things. Now, the usual ones are fear of heights.
Right.
Okay. Claustrophobia.
Right.
Fear of closed-in little spaces. I have all of that.
Well, and I've been trying to think about some phobias I might have, and I know one from me is needles.
Oh, that's one of them. I'm going to try to find the name for that.
Would have never made a good drug addict because I hate needles.
Hey, there are other ways. No.
Yes, there are other ways, but that
there
one I wouldn't be good at. I wouldn't be good at it.
No.
I mean, even talking about it right now, my palms are getting sweaty because just the thought of needles freak me out. And I know how it started. I had pneumonia when I was a little girl, and they couldn't find a vein in my arm, so they had to keep poking me like 10 times in each arm to get me rehydrated. And from that moment on,
fear of needles.
Still to this day, right now, my hands are getting sweaty.
Well, there's a real phobia that's even like fear of dentists, fear of anything to do with needles. So you're right in that category.
Yeah.
And I can understand that.
Yeah.
You were a little kid and you were poked all over.
Yeah.
Like a little pin cushion, you know. But I was going to tell you one more. I've got a few here that I think are so fascinating, okay? But keep talking while I find them, okay? But there is a blood injection phobia, okay? These are fears of blood, injury, injections, and shots.
Okay, so are we saying phobias only or like strange addictions? Are they considered the same thing?
Nope, these are phobias.
Or they're just phobias?
Yeah, and I've got some. There are fears of automobile. It's called motor phobia.
Motor phobia?
Now, who ever heard of motor phobia? But it's true.
I haven't heard of that one.
Well, it says in this modern world of technology, it's become difficult for some people to go outside or get in cars or fear of being hit or injured.
Germ phobia.
Germ phobia, Howie Mandel. All right, that's good. That's what I'm talking about. We're not shaking those nasty hands, okay? There's one that's fear. Now, this is unbelievable to me. Fear of bald people.
Ooh, I like bald people. I'm not
Nothing
tell
wrong
you
with
why.
bald people, huh? But it's called peladophia. Peladophia.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad you did your homework.
I
This
did.
conversation would have been really short.
But a fear of bald people, to me, that's just, There's one, a fear of mother-in-laws. Now, that one I can understand.
Yes, that's,
okay.
I don't know if that's a fear or selective.
A selective fear of
yeah,
mother-in-law.
selective fear,
It has
yeah.
a name. Penthrophobia, okay? Unbelievable to me. There's one I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but it's a fear of Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Now, that sounds like a superstition,
yeah.
but they have a phobia. People that will not leave their house on the 13th. And actually, this particular phobia for Friday the 13th, it says people won't even get out of bed.
Really?
Which makes me wonder if, like you said, some superstitions and
Yes.
phobias and fears.
Yeah.
But it said it's an anxiety that causes discomfort, distress,
Right.
nervousness,
Right.
you know, all of that stuff. I love the one of bald people.
I like bald people.
I know, especially in these days when it's so popular to just shave your head.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
been in.
Yeah, it is.
Let me
And
read
thank
you
God
more.
they do, because there is nothing worse than a comb over with just like, that's my phobia. Is
fear of
comb over
comb-overs.
of 3 hairs. You know, and the wind flops it back over and it's just hanging to the side.
And just 2 are left and one's floating out here
Yeah.
somewhere in space.
That, I would rather see a bald head than
A
that.
fear of comb-overs. I didn't find that one, but we could start a new
We can
phobia.
start a new
I love
phobia.
that. Here's one that's a fear of trees. Says these people are afraid of any place where there are ample trees, going into a forest, hiking, trail. Fear of
Okay, so I
trees.
want to know, is this a psychologist's dream to like maybe start these phobias and maybe kind of keep them?
So people can come and pay him lots of money to get a cure?
Yeah, how does a phobia happen with the tree?
I don't know, but like you said, maybe as a child, you saw
Yeah.
a cartoon or something where the tree
Right.
comes at
Right.
you, you know. But it's a fear of trees. Now, another one is a fear of numbers. Numbers. Kate, I got to read you this. It's unbelievable. These people are afraid of numbering and avoid learning any financial issues, prices, and other activities related to numbers.
Well, I have that about from January to April, you know, tax time. I hate numbers.
That's a good one.
I
yeah.
hate numbers.
That could be also associated with a fear of the IRS.
Fear of IRS, calculators.
Now, that could be a phobia for half the country,
Right,
if not more.
right.
Okay. Now, listen to this. Heliophobia. Guess what that is? Don't look. No
I
peeking.
don't know,
It's
I
like a
don't know.
test. No cheating.
We might be here a while.
Heliophobia.
Heels, high heels.
I think actually there was one.
Platforms.
Yeah. It's fear of the sun.
Oh.
Fear of the sun. Now, I would be a little bit more afraid of the sun never coming back out again. Okay.
Well, and that makes me wonder if media constantly, the fear warnings of
Rays.
skin cancer,
exposure.
yeah,
Yeah. to
So
the
I
sun.
mean, how much of that is maybe media caused by the media, as far as?
Well, I think a lot of fears are caused by the media.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
all you ever hear is bad stuff. Very
Yeah.
seldom do you hear happy little stories.
Right.
Okay?
First chocolate's good for you, then it's bad for you.
Then
So
it's
you
good
know,
for you. I know
eggs are
it's
good for you. Bad,
me.
yeah. So
Give me
it's
chocolate any day, and I don't care if the sun's out, the moon's out. I don't care what's out. Just
Yeah.
give me some chocolate. Okay,
What
keep
about
talking.
Friday the 13th?
Well,
Will
you
you
know.
eat chocolate on Friday the 13th?
Oh, I'll eat chocolate morning, noon, night, any day, any month.
Yeah, I've witnessed it.
Okay. Just give me
Chocolate is not a phobia of Gertie's.
It's not, but there are some good ones out here, and I wanted to tell you a few more because they're so. Now, we know of social. There's a lot of social phobias, like fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I can relate to that. I had to give a talk one time, and even though I appear to be very outgoing, okay, but it's different when you're standing at a podium, and I teach classes. I talk to people all the time in front of people, but it's not the same as being at a podium and people
Right.
being out there.
Right.
But my heart started racing, and speaking of
Yeah.
sweaty, I got sweaty, and like I couldn't speak correctly, and my legs started
Well-
shaking like that.
I've had one experience like that too, in front of like 3,000 people. I had one a trip.
Were you a star, a rock star?
Well, those are in my dreams.
Onea has dreams of being a rock star all the time.
I party with Eminem, Snoop Dogg, those people. But I had won a trip to Australia in front of 3,000 people. And first, I didn't even connect my name to me, and I started walking, and it was like this tunnel, and they're like, "So, what's your name?" And I was speechless, and I'm never speechless, not most of the time, but yeah, I can understand that one. But for the most part, I do. I kind of get a kick out of public speaking.
Do you?
Yes, I love it.
That's why she has dreams of partying with rock stars, because she's really an exhibitionist is kind of part of. Do you ever have fears of naked people?
No.
Well, that's a phobia. Fear of naked people.
No,
okay?
I like it.
And I can understand that too, because I don't even like looking at myself naked. Much would I like to look at anybody else naked.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. All right, so what'd you do this weekend?
My son, he is in the regional, my oldest one. I have 2 boys, as you know. And my oldest one is 18 now, and he's just finishing up his senior year. And we're at the end of our wrestling season. So it was regionals this weekend, and then he goes to state this weekend. He passed far enough to go into state this weekend.
Now, her son is an amazing wrestler and has won trophies galore. He's been outstanding in the wrestling field, so that doesn't surprise me that he won state.
No, it doesn't. He hurt his ankle pretty bad, though, so it was kind of on the fence if he was going to be able to make it through.
Sorry
but he
to hear
did,
that.
yeah.
Would you tell him I said congratulations?
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So we've got a big year, and Sage is ready to get into baseball. So, my life never really slows down, but it's good.
And then we have a show to do.
Yes.
Our great show here.
Yes.
Now ask me what I did last week.
What did you do last weekend?
I didn't really care what you did. I just was wondering.
Yeah, you're trying to bring up your
No,
weekend.
I'm kidding. I went to see the Doobie Brothers last week down in Phoenix.
Now remind me again, what do they sing?
That funky Dixieland, pretty mama, come and take me by the hand, and take me by the hand. And it was great. It was for the Phoenix Open.
Uh-huh.
And they had like 3 different major acts every night.
The Phoenix Open that kind of got froze out a little bit?
Yes, it was so cold. And this was not an indoor concert. This was an outdoor concert, but they did have it under a big tent. Okay, it was a big, big tent. No assigned seats, no specified seating. There were no chairs.
That's nice.
So everybody stood.
I like concerts like that because people mingle.
I loved it. And you could move.
Yeah,
everybody was rocking out. And I was
tipsy
right in there. I had this drunk guy, he was feeling no pain, let's put it that way, right next to me. And there's one song the Doobie Brothers had. And by the way, they still have 2 of the original, and the rest came aboard later. But they sounded amazing.
Okay.
But this guy could not. There's the song that goes, whoa, listen to the music. Hey.
Yeah.
He was standing next to me, and he could not do the whoa part unless he went way down. And I'm standing here. Now pretend you're me.
Well, and you're not a real tall person.
No, but pretend you're me standing there. So the whoa part, he'd go, whoa, listen to the music. And then, whoa, listen to the music. And it was a riot. My girlfriends and I laughed about it all the way home and kept doing the whoa. So much fun.
Awesome.
I mean, I just had a great time, and when I'm in an atmosphere like that, I don't care about anything but the music.
I think the best concerts I've been to have been those open arenas, and even if I don't think I know their music until they start singing them, I'm like,
then
oh,
you
yeah,
know.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because I went to Rick Springsteen one time.
Oh, okay.
LL Cool J is one of my favorites, and the security guards are like, get off those chairs now. And I'm like, okay. And then I jump back up again.
Talk about feeling old. I went to Elvis, Tom Jones, Ray Charles, all of those instead of
LL Cool J.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now I feel ancient.
Oh, I would go to Elvis. I would go to Elvis.
Oh my God, it was one of the highlights of my life. I will never forget it.
How many people can say they went to Elvis?
That's
really?
right. He was was at a little bit later in his life, and he was heavy, and he wasn't quite as good looking as he once been because he was heavy.
The Jolly Elvis.
The Jolly Elvis, yeah. But I don't care. It was Elvis. He's the king. I will never forget it. It was awesome. And I was young, you know, but I still remember that experience. I was 2. No.
Yeah.
Like it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Okay.
Awesome.
And yeah, I know what you're wanting me to say. I'm not sure I want to say it. Share that story. Do you really want me to share that story? I don't know if we can do that on the air.
Well, it's up to you.
Yeah,
but.
maybe we should pass that, or you tell it, okay? But so what else happened this weekend? What do you think what's going on in the world today?
I don't know. I mean, it was cold. I mean, I feel like maybe Pale might have froze over as cold as it was. In Arizona, it was cold. I don't think and I've lived in Arizona all my life, so I don't know if I've ever in my life experienced how cold it was last week.
Well, and even down in Phoenix, we had to walk quite a ways, probably a mile, because the parking was so crowded and far away to get to this concert. And I mean, these little short legs were moving, okay?
Yeah.
By the time I got there, my nose really did look like this, okay? And we were so cold. But inside the tent, they had those heaters going.
Yeah.
And just the body heat.
Yeah.
You know, people around you and moving. So my feet were the only things that never really did warm up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It was extremely cold.
It was extremely cold.
Okay.
So...
For Prescott, it was real cold. But
for Prescott,
Phoenix,
it was cold,
to be cold like that, you know,
was.
it's
so
an unusual.
It makes you wonder if we're really having global warming issues.
I think we are. I think there is something to it. If you look at the weather patterns, although I've talked to other people that said, "Oh, go through history."
Yeah,
go
see,
through
that's
history.
the kind of response I get from talking to people about it. And they
Yeah.
said it's a history thing. It cycles, and you know we go through it, and.
Right.
And, you know, if you go back, there's sort of a pattern.
Sort of a pattern.
So could that create a phobia? Do you
weather
think
phobia? Actually, it was a phobia. It was one of the phobias. I didn't bring what it's called, I don't think, but weather-related phobias are very common.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, when we look at all this stuff, it's like here, natural environment phobias, okay? I mean, that can be anything.
Right.
But here's what it is. The natural environment phobia is a fear of thunder, darkness, water, like even rainwater, for crying out loud, okay? Situation phobias that are triggered by specific situations, flying, dentists, we talked about that. Tunnels, bridges.
Okay.
Now, I have a thing about bridges, too. I love bridges to look at, and I like to photograph them. I'm kind of a frustrated photographer anyway, but I like bridges, the structure of them. But driving across is a different story.
We always have a little game when we go either through tunnels or over bridges. We will all hold our breath going over and see who can last the longest. And I'm driving going,
I'd be jumping out the car.
Yeah.
It'd be no problem here, huh? And you know what's strange, because I have an incredible, horrible fear of heights. Sometimes I even have a hard time driving on I-17 just down to Phoenix. Those little parts with the little curves. One time going to Flagstaff, there's a certain section on I-17 where there are drop-off. You know, there's a drop-off on the sides and then these curves. I actually thought about pulling over. I didn't think I could make it, and calling 911.
You're kidding?
Nope, it was real anxiety, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, so I can understand some of these phobias. But I started to tell you, though, the horrible fear I have of heights, but flying doesn't bother me. Well, not flying, flapping my own wings, but flying in the airplane, you know. I can fly, not a problem. And I always wanted to try skydiving, although, you know, that's kind of a fleeting thought at this stage. But I used to want to do that, and yet I have this horrible fear of heights. Doesn't make sense, does it?
Not really.
Well, it's Gertie for you. It's what I'm talking about. Nothing I do
That's
makes
what
any
I'm
real
talking
sense.
about.
But fear of weather, yeah, it's a real thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you're not unusual in that. Did you say you had a fear of weather,
No,
or you were just?
I'm just saying global warming.
Oh yeah,
But it's
that's right.
freezing.
That's right. Okay.
So I don't know how the two go together, and how fears can be caused by promoting things that maybe not are real accurate.
Well, and like I say, I think the global warming thing is accurate. However, history has shown us that we have
Right.
gone through periods where there were tremendous upheavals and changes in our weather patterns.
Right.
So, it's hard to tell.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
evolving.
both.
It's an evolving
It's
world,
both.
and the weather comes around in cycles, and
And here we are.
And here
We're evolving
we
our
are.
little old self. We have our own little show here. We talk about anything that comes up and doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But we enjoy
But
our
we're
conversation.
entertaining, yeah.
Yeah, that's the main thing. So what else went on?
not much this weekend. It's just trying to get through the cold weather and got my taxes done.
Oh, my
Yay. So my
God.
phobia of numbers are done.
My God.
I don't have to deal with them.
How
And,
lucky.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
good year.
Well, I ran around trying to find a day bed. Do you remember day
Yes,
beds? Do you know what day
yes.
beds are?
No, are they the ones with the trundles that you
Well,
pull
it's not
out?
a trundle bed.
But it's like the ones that you can
Yeah,
put up.
they have like a frame, usually a little wrought iron, little frame around them, and they're darling. And I wanted to I didn't want a hide-a-bed because I didn't want to, like, every time I had, somebody over, pull it all out and all of that kind of stuff with company. I wanted something in the spare room that was made up all the time, and yet I didn't want it to look like a bed. Okay,
Right,
a little bit
right.
more.
You can kind of dress it up with pillows and
I
stuff.
went to 6 used furniture places, okay, trying to find a day bed.
Yeah.
There are none. It's like almost a thing of the past.
Yeah, I don't see
Okay.
those advertised
Well,
much.
one
now,
guy-
now the futons.
And I didn't want a futon.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted a day bed.
Okay.
That was my mission. So I
Okay.
went on this mission this weekend, running around looking for them. I found one in an antique store, one of our antique malls here in Prescott.
We've got plenty, so
oh,
it's great that you're
We're
able
lucky.
to. Yeah,
We're
are.
lucky. We have just about anything you want right here in this little old town. But I did find one in this antique mall. Bought it immediately, okay? And the gal told me, now the frame's a little rickety, and I looked at it and I pulled out one little part of the frame, and I thought, well, that's no big deal. I saw a couple of bolts. I thought, oh, I can handle that, okay? So I bought it. The guy delivered it that afternoon. I was thrilled, and he said, by the way, you do know that this whole frame is not attached to anything, it's just hanging there. I said, no, I didn't know that. I knew that one end was a little bit loose. He said, no, all of it, all three sides, the back part, the side parts. So he tied it all on with just, like string, tied it on, and that was my big buy. I finally found a day bed, and the frame had to be tied on with string. It wasn't on there. I'm not good about checking things out. I'm impulsive.
Okay.
How about
so
you?
Can you?
I'm keeping it.
But can you put screws on it?
Well, now, how do you mean that? Just how do you mean? What are you trying to say here, huh?
Can you put screws on that
Well, I
tape?
suppose depends on who's coming to visit. No. You know what? Right now,
You're going to be tying it up with string.
it's tied up with string. That's what
Could
I'm
go in a
talking
different
about.
direction too.
Well, yeah, let's just take it in the family direction, okay? Might be a family show. But no, the frame's just tied on, and I'm leaving it. Hey, I worked too hard even trying to find a day bed to mess with it, or the thought of returning it didn't even occur to me, okay? It's just a nice little frame that's tied on with string.
String,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
All right.
That was my mission for the weekend.
Well, it sounds like it kept you busy.
It did. I mean, to run around. And I saw a lot of neat things. And I'm telling you, anybody who likes antiquing, I like thrifting. I like secondhand stores and thrifting.
I'm not a big shopper, so that doesn't thrill me.
Doesn't thrill you. And I'm not big on, I love antiques, but I don't want my house full of antiques.
Yeah,
okay.
full of dusting and
I'm very
fun like that.
I'm very eclectic.
Phobias like that.
Phobias like that.
Phobias of dusting, yeah.
Well, hey, listen, there's some truth to that because who knows who owned that, whatever it is you're buying in the past, who knows the history of a particular item, where it's been, you know, who's owned it, and what energy is connected with it.
Now, could that be a phobia or a superstition?
Well, it could be all of the above, or it could be the real McCoy,
right.
that you need to check it out, kind of feel it. I had a friend who bought an old antique player piano. The minute he brought it into his house, weird stuff started happening in the house, okay?
Oh.
But he didn't associate it with that player piano until way down the road. He had shamans.
Maybe we should go further into that conversation in our next show.
Well, I'll just tell you a little bit about it, though, because he had shamans come out and bless his house and cleanse the area and cleanse the ground and, you know, all kinds of people doing things to rid. Well, let me tell you, he got up every morning and every picture mirror in his house was hanging upside down.
Oh.
He would turn it right side up, get up the next morning, everything was upside down.
That would.
Well, it was spooky, yeah. And other weird things were happening. That's just a small little part of it, but all the cleansings didn't do it. When
interesting.
Somewhere along the line, he realized that all of this started happening when he brought home that player piano. Okay.
Wow. How old was it?
Oh, well, you know, probably 1800 something.
Okay.
Maybe even older. I have no idea. But when he got rid of that player piano, everything calmed down.
Wow.
So there definitely was something connected with it.
That'd be an interesting show to figure out.
Well, let's talk about it.
That's
Get
what
rid
I'm
of those
talking about.
No handshakes, huh? Now.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and hopefully we're entertaining you. And
well, I know we're entertaining ourselves,
so really.
Just keep talking and keep on watching.